Girlfriend of 10 years and fiancé of 6 months cheated on me repeatedly, just found out. Sorry, long post. Writing it off my chest. So I will start right in the beginning. The girl I wanted to marry and had the goal of making the happiest women in the world cheated on me with 3 different guys over 6 years and never came forward with it until I pressured her tonight. I feel lost and do not know how to move on. This is a short version of my life of the last 10 years which is falling apart now. Disclaimer: I have been reading through some similar posts and I have an idea what the comments will say. But I need to get it off my chest. Also for future reference, as I am writing this 5 hours after I found out my girlfriend of 10.5 years and fiancé of 6 months has been cheating on me repeatedly in our relationship. Disclaimer 2. English is neither my first language nor my mobile phones from which I am typing this in a bar close by, so there might be unintentional autocorrects to German that I don't immediately recognize. So I am 36, and my fiancé, 33, met through university. I was pretty sexually active at that time and successful with the ladies, too. Also a bit of an arrogant guy through that success, which only increased it, I guess. But we very quickly became exclusive. Throughout the first 12 months of our relationship, as it is often the case, we did some crazy stuff, touching her at the lake with people 20 meters next to us, having sex on a roof and in the office I worked at, meeting a couple I had a threesome with before her for a potential foursome, which did not work out as she and they did not click, but that was okay. Not everything works. Having her wear a remote-controlled vibrator to the club, playing with light bondage. Good times. That slowed down in the second/third year of our relationship. Also okay, as most relationships go that way. I would have loved to get my kinks out more often than not also after that, but this life slowed down. When she went on a 6-month exchange abroad about 2.5 years in our relationship, she told me if I needed the sex I could hook up with my former affair, the couple, as they were not threatening to her, but frankly, I didn't want to, once because my sexual desires had been centered around her by then, and second because I felt at that time she only proposed it out of fear to lose me. That did not feel right to me to take advantage of, so I didn't. I still cherished this call we did once in that time of hers abroad years later. So when she came back, the relationship was great and I felt strengthened. We had survived 6 months apart. Not all couples do. We supported each other and had sex regularly. But the feeling increased that she was having sex with me only to keep me satisfied and was not that interested in it anymore. We still had not moved in together as she was living with her BFF after her time abroad and did not want to break off the loan less than 2 years in. Within that time I increasingly felt sexually unsatisfied. As I stated, the sex started to feel more of a burden to her than something she really wanted to do. I addressed the issue and told her how I felt about this. Told her about my fantasies, having sex with someone watching, threesome, sharing her with others, sting, some kinky stuff, but I feel nothing, completely out of bounds. But she never was receptive. When I asked her about her fantasies, nah, I do not have them. Told her I would love to know when she was feeling in the mood to just give me a sign so I would feel wanted. Frustration settled in. So when I attended a friend's wedding abroad and traveled some weeks after in the Americas, I was heavily flirting with the girls there, and one drunkenly night made out with a girl in a club but stopped it at that, feeling ashamed. Somehow that resulted in when I met my GF again, on our first night, I gave her a serious spanking and took her roughly, kinda, not really the rough guy so no marks, but that was the roughest I had ever been. She did not tell me to stop and was wet as ever, but I felt bad and still feel bad 6 years later of that incident. Still, I think it is important to point it out as this episode was the first time that I thought about us not being made for each other, sexually. Switch to some months later, when I got a great job offer abroad that I could not refuse. Took the job and another long-distance relationship began. We still saw each other every month as it was a neighboring country, but I felt that while everyone around me was hooking up and me being truthful to my GF, I was missing out. My life was bad. I post video calls, which we did too, or sexy dares, sending pics etc. She agreed at times but always reluctantly. Never proposed anything on her own. Then Corona hit. With my brother being a healthcare worker in intensive care and the borders closing down, I decided to move to his place quickly and working remotely as I felt I could support his wife and nieces if anything would happen to him. I told this to my GF, who was understanding but also insisted I should not visit her in that time as the infection risk would be too great and it could endanger her parents if I would infect her. So there was basically nothing for some months as also the world stood still. As I learned today, That was when she first strayed with an old friend of hers. She says it was because she was angry, but she did not tell me yet what she was angry about. Back to the story. During Corona I evaluated life choices. Not being fully satisfied with my job abroad, I looked for another one in the town I had lived before. Proximity to my GF was a reason, but definitely not the only one. I needed a change. I found a good job quickly, and finally my GF and me were looking for a flat together. She was reluctant at first and I did not really understand, so kinda insisted on it, but then she was committed and the flat we found also met all expectations. We moved in together after 6 years of dating, 2 periods of long-distance relationship, and you would think that was a good basis. But somehow, shortly after we moved in together, she cheated on me with a second guy. Also, I did not find out until earlier today, or yesterday as it is late at night now. Living together worked well. We worked out a rhythm. She finished her studies. Work was good, even though stressful. We were making it in life. Always the happy couple, while relationships around us fell apart or started anew. Still, my soul needs were not satisfied. We had talks and or fights about some issues twice a year or so. I caught myself more oftenly thinking of having an affair. I talked to her about adding another person to our relationship. Spicing things up with toys. Going to a sex-positive club. All of what did not really appeal to her, as she let me experiment with toys but never introduced them herself. We went to the club once but she never wanted to go back. Talking about another person she said we could see but never ever came back on it. All the initiative was from my side. She said she just did not feel in the mood as often as I did, also a normal thing that there are discrepancies in sexual need. I asked her to just tell me if she was in the mood, even if it was a bad time, just so I knew she was a soul being and not just doing it for me. She never did. I proposed if she felt shy to mention she was in the mood, to just introduce a code word. We agreed on one. She never used it. My soul frustration grew. Once I was meeting friends in another city and actively got in contact with an old affair of mine over there. We met up, had drinks, went to her place, made out, undressed. We did not have sex. It did not feel right. But I was shocked of being so close to cheating. Maybe all the stuff before was already cheating? I guess so. 2 days later I made out with another unknown girl at a party. One day after that my GF and I met for the worst vacation ever. I was kinda sick. She did not want sex, I wanted it. I felt miserable. Still, that episode is already 3 years ago. Circling to now. This life has not really improved. I get my soul satisfaction about once a week, which other couples in 10 years relationships might say is a lot, but is it if 90% of the time it feels like your partner is only doing you a favor? So after our last vacation, 3 weeks, the Americas again, beach, sun, everything you would think of increasing libido, but no sex or anything within the last 8 days, I opened up heavily. I told my GF, as many times before, I was unhappy with our sex life. I felt not wanted. I felt she only had sex with me to make me happy. Also I confessed that I had kissed 3 girls within our relationship because I felt not wanted. I looked her in the eye, I saw it. I asked her if she had strayed. She confessed to having cheated on me once. I asked her, shocked but still somewhat understanding in my mind, when? With whom? Why? She told me about the friend of hers whom she had hooked up with during COVID. I asked if it was only once and that I wanted the truth. She couldn't look me in the eye. After 10 minutes of questioning she admitted it was twice. After more questioning she admitted it was not the only guy. After more, she admitted she had been having affairs with 3 guys during our relationship, the last meeting and sex only 2 weeks before we went on vacation, so a little almost a month ago. He was a virgin, she added. It was only 1.5 months, she added. We decided to not meet again, she added. I never stayed over at his place, she added. As if those statements mattered. And at least the last statement, after demanding to see their texts, proved to be a lie. Again. Lie after lie after lie. I was shell-shocked. The women I would spend my life with, have children with, through all the soul troubles, had cheated on me not once, not twice but with 3 guys over the span of the last 6 years. None of them were drunk one-night stands. All of them she had met more than once, deliberately. She told me she did not feel the soul attraction with me anymore. But she did not want to tell me, to ask to open the relationship, which in an earlier point of the relationship I would have definitely willing to do, as I was very much into sexually experimenting. As I said, I even proposed myself to add another person. She said she thought I would then question the whole relationship. Now I know that she rather decided to cheat on me in life for 6 years. I did not lie, I did just not tell you about it, is what she said. She proposed, in this talk, an open relationship, if she always comes first and she would put me first. Like, what is she thinking, honestly? I can't wrap my head around it. Cheating, keeping me as the safe option. I would still like to have children with you, I love you very warmly, but the sex is for others? No, she says, we would still have more sex amongst us than with others. Sex is important to me. It is important in a relationship. I want to feel desired, and I know I am desirable, being fit, intelligent, successful. Sex is not a charity to me. I absolutely cannot see how we can move on from this. Still, I told her to pack her bags and move out tomorrow, and we would talk in 2 weeks' time. I did not close every door. Maybe that is stupid. However, never act in affect, right? This post may serve as my diary for tonight. I once drew my dream future when I was in therapy for depressions almost 8 years ago. It was me, her, and kids in a house. That picture I held onto. It has been destroyed now. Thanks for reading. I needed to get this off of my chest.